Right, we're recording, Sue. So thank you very much for coming on my YouTube channel. If anybody's watching this on YouTube or whatever, whichever platform. So loads of people have kind of reached out to me since posting these videos saying that they're asking questions. They're usually the odd one out in the family, odd one out in the circle of friends, you know, because they're asking questions and diving into stuff. And when I was at that point, I literally had nobody around me that was on the same page, and Sue was one of the first people that I spoke to who was open to things that I was saying, thoughts, just being open and just questioning everything. So welcome, Sue, who is now in France, joining us from France. So Sue lived on my street for how long?
Well, I lived on Craigleview for 16 years. Yeah, and then you came a bit after we moved in, didn't you? So yeah, it's a long time.
yeah. But we kind of waved, hadn't we, and said hi.
Yeah.
But we never had like a proper deep conversation before.
No. Yeah, not until I decided to put my house on the market. So yeah, one day there was an open house visit for people who were interested in the house, and you very kindly invited me round to your house so that I could continue working. So yeah.
We hardly worked on that day, did we? When you came round, I think we made a coffee. And then we just started talking about like everything. And it was just weird. I don't remember some of the conversations we had, but I know we dived into a lot of deep stuff that day. What do you remember?
I can remember the first question that he asked me is, what do I think about Donald Trump? And I was like, oh, he's all right. But then at the time, everybody, well, he's been painted as some monster. But I kind of saw through that. And then I think, well, did he ask me about Disney? And a long time ago, that didn't feel right to me, the things that they were putting out. There always seems to be hidden messages in it, which I picked up on. Yeah, I can't remember what else there was, but yeah, there were loads of different questions you asked me. And I was like, oh, it wasn't just me, because I'd never talked about or any of that stuff with anybody before. So yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it, how you start asking questions, especially when you bring up Donald Trump as well, because you know the TV makes him to be like this massive monster, the most horrible person on the planet. But yeah, that only started after he ran as president. Before that, like, everybody loved him. He was amazing, successful businessman. Everybody loved him. He was on this huge pedestal. But as soon as he decided to run as president, it was like this massive hate campaign came out against him, and then complained about every single thing he did, which for me, I mean, I've never been into politics whatsoever. I don't follow it at all. But once I started diving down these rabbit holes, especially with the whole COVID thing going on, I started like asking questions and looking at Trump and looking at the other politicians and kind of thinking, actually, yeah, you know, maybe we are led to think a certain way. Maybe Disney is putting out us these subliminal, I can't say the word, subliminal messages. But yeah, for me, it was just so good to have that conversation with you, because I think you was the only other real life person, other than people I've been following on YouTube saying this stuff, but to sit down in front of me and go, well, yeah, that makes sense, and that makes sense, and that made me think about that. And yeah,
it's weird. We was obviously, you know, meant to have that conversation at that time, especially since decided to put the house on the market.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just nice to have that person, that ally. And then I know we'd looked after each other quite a bit, because obviously with all the rules and regulations and all the other stuff, and we were literally the only people on the streets. So it was me and my husband, you and your husband, that were kind of asking questions and opening our eyes to actually what is the narrative? What is going on here? Because none of this that we're being told makes sense. It certainly didn't make sense to us. And I think you and Andy were the same, weren't you?
Yeah, we were. But I mean, I've always done that. I've questioned why. So, like, why was there a witch hunt against Donald Trump? So there must be a reason.
Yeah.
So you try and find out why. Same with Nigel Farage. Just the media pumps so much stuff in a particular way. But I go, hang on a minute, why is that going that way? I'll go that way and see what I find.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, something I've always done for some reason.
100%. So that's really interesting, because it's almost like when you see, like, a lot of people are led by the mind logical, see what they see what they're told in the media, what politicians say, what basically what we're led to believe. But it's almost like you had this whole other pull in another direction. I mean, I was completely the opposite. I mean, I've always done what's expected. I've always believed what's on TV. I've always watched the news. I've never questioned anything, apart from when the whole COVID came out. And I don't feel like I've ever had that intuition. And even like well into the pandemic, people were saying to me, Laura, out of everybody, you would, in their minds, I would have been the first person, you know, to stick my masks on, to get everybody jabbed, you know, to fully comply. Whereas that was, for me to have that resistance and question things, that was really, I'm not explaining this well, but that was a massive shift for them, a shift in me that they have seen about me. Whereas I think you'd grown up and always like questioned everything and always followed that.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a follower, you know, of the latest fashions and the latest music, and I've always done the opposite. Well, not on purpose, but just, I think, yeah, why is that pushed so much? And is there an alternative, or is there something better, instead of just listening to the same thing that BBC News tells you, or the same thing that magazines tell you?
Yeah, 100%. And when you said to me, we're selling up and we're moving to France, I was like, oh, okay, have you got a house sorted out there? Have you got everything planned? You know, thinking like any like a logical person would probably, you know, line up all the ducks first. And you was like, no, not done any of that. I just feel it's right for me. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is a lady who has totally got this connection, this intuition, this pull, you know, what I've talked about before, and this connection, and you just know exactly intuitively what to do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because you literally did drive out of our street in a van, didn't you? Did you even buy your house? You didn't have a house to go to, did you?
Well, when we got here, we found somewhere to rent. So yeah, so we rented that for a bit. But yeah, we literally just set off in a van with a bit of bedding, some clothes,
and
a
Freddie
cat.
the cat, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it was just an exciting new adventure.
I just absolutely love it. I mean, I can see us doing that now as a family. I'm just waiting for the rest of, you know, like Roy and the girls to fully get to that place where they need to be. But just to think, you've been in your family home and you literally just emptied the whole thing. You were like, right then, boys, come back, clear your stuff out. Mum and dad are off. And you just emptied your house like, all of those years of belongings. I mean, how many of us just hoard all this stuff, this useless stuff in our houses, and we hold on to it from fear of losing that memory, or fear of this, or fear of that. And you was like, that's it, new start, off we go.
It's forming an attachment to something, isn't it? But once that served a purpose, which it did, is there something different and new and exciting that we can go and do? But yeah, the boys had all left home, so they were settled and sorted. So at the time was just spot on right at the time, and been in France for nearly a year now, and it's one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's put this in context. You are sat in your house, you've got your own pool.
Yes.
Yeah. However many, how big's your land? Are we talking?
I
It's a
got
chunk.
1.7 acres of land and loads of trees, and we're in the middle of the countryside next to some farms. It's very peaceful, lots of greenery. Nobody overlooking us, just bliss.
Did you snow or ice or bad weather, or is it just a dream?
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're predicting we might get snow this year. You never know. I think it does some years, but yeah, I've got a cupboard full of provisions ready for that event if I can't get out.
Oh, I just love it. And talking about cupboards full of provisions as well, this was something else when we was talking, because obviously when we had that conversation and we start diving and digging into different channels, what different people are saying, and it's really difficult because, you know, we're used to always just going with, like you say, the BBC, believing what we're told and believing those narratives. But when you're looking elsewhere and you're thinking what's happening, and you see all this stuff, but you don't know who to trust, who to listen to. And I think it's really important to just keep that really open mind, take all the information in and always go with what resonates within. And the amount of times we were like, oh, something's going to happen this weekend, something's going to happen, because we can basically see the old system crumbling, can't we? I think everybody can see that. We're saying goodbye to the financial system as we know it. The political system is literally shattering in front of us. With the monarchy is over, not publicly yet, but it soon will be publicly over. And all of these systems are going, but I think because we've been on this journey for so long, we've been like following these channels like, oh, what's this? And there was a time where I had my bath filled up, and you'll laugh your head off. I know you and Andy laugh your head off, and Bryce like, she's off their head. I had my bath filled up with cold water for about a week. Like, something's going to happen, and a loft full of food, which has all gone out of date. Well, no, it's been eaten now because it's not out of date. But I do genuinely think that there is going to be an event coming up. Everybody's like looking at the 24th of September. And yes, the 24th of September, The Simpsons predicted it, as well as, there was loads, I shared a list on my Telegram channel. There was loads of films and TV series that all said about a meteorite on the 24th of September, or this on the 24th of September. So whether or not that was part of the timeline, if we was going down that New World Order Great Reset plan, I don't know. But what's your thoughts on what might we have coming up in the next weeks or months?
I don't know, I feel that something's bubbling, and they talk about the precipice quite a lot. So there's a lot of big events going on recently with the Queen dying,
publicly announced,
the stock market starting to crash. So yeah, and I agree that if you do watch the channels, they do tell you that something's big going to happen this week, and you go, oh no, it didn't happen. They go, oh, something's going to happen this week. No, it didn't happen. But I think it's just a case of just living your life, but having some preparation in the background, just in case. But I know that I've got a cupboard full of food that would help us if something happened and couldn't go to the shops. But then we'll just eat it if nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same with the financial system. It can all seem a bit scary. What do you do for the best? Where do you put your money? But just whatever you do, it's just go with your gut feeling.
Yeah. And don't get bought into that fear as well, because this is how they've controlled us for so long. I think part of the, talk about timelines of it, but, for people just starting out on this journey, you might come to hear that, there are different possible timelines, and they do shift, and people have noticed like weird things happening, which almost sort of indicates a shift in timeline. And I feel like a realm's just shifted in a weird way. So strange. But the part of the dark timeline of the New World Order, the Great Reset, was, I think, to have a huge meteorite event, scare event, which would then maybe lead us into another lockdown. You can't use your cars, this, that, and the other, you're destroying the planet, you know, that fear-based control to try and control us. So if we touch on something like that, maybe that'll happen. Maybe visually might see on TV that there's a meteorite hit. Maybe it might look like it could be the end of the world. Maybe the TV will make it look like it could be. But again, I really don't think there's anything truly to fear. I think that they're going to try and control people with the fear. If that happens, you know, we've heard a flood's going to happen. People in the US are having the bug out bags given to them and handed out as well, aren't they? Which is like, oh, this is interesting. So there's definitely, what I'm trying to say is it's definitely planned, you know. So if whatever happens, whenever it happens, please don't fall into the, oh no, the world's going to end, because the bug out bags have been given. They've been getting crisis actors as well. Have you seen those? The adverts for crisis actors. I can't remember where they were, but I've seen for 2 locations in America for this Saturday. One was outside a residential home and one was outside a fire station. So, you know, they want crisis actors for a reason, don't they? So they can whack something scary on the TV. And like I say, there's so many films and TV shows that have predicted September, big meteorite or something scary. So like, just know that, just don't be scared, don't be freaked out.
Yeah, but this is the point where we've got to, is that we don't, I mean, they do talk about watching a movie, don't they? A lot.
Yeah.
And there's events that could happen that aren't actually real. So yeah, we definitely got to the point where you can bring on the fear and I'll be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, me too.
As long as they're not here on my doorstep, it's all right.
Even it's got to the point, you've seen the simulations, haven't you? I mean, obviously you've done all your research, you've seen what CGI can do and how they can take a green screen and they can change, like they could make me look like the Queen now talking. Absolutely crazy. But have you seen those massive simulations of another planet coming to Earth so you can actually see it in the sky? I think it's like blue beam technology. It's like mind-blowing. Even if I saw what looked like Saturn literally there in the sky, I'd be like, yes, it's happening, finally. We've been waiting for this for 2 years. Let's just fast forward it and get through it all and get the disclosure out there. So yeah, I think we'll be there with our Prosecco celebrating.
No.
And like, don't worry, everybody, like the older people on the street, don't worry, it's not real, it's just a simulation, it's not really the end of the world, we're fine. But like you said, with the financial system, you know, just be sensible, you know, you just get a chunk of cash out, keep it with you, and just know that these things are all planned. And we do have a new financial system. It is going to come up. It is running in the background already. So if maybe the banks go down and it looks a bit scary, it's fine. But
hopefully.
Yeah, well, that's it as well. And if you've got that doubt, then take your money out and put it into an asset that you believe in. You know, a lot of people invest in gold and silver or crypto, if that's where you feel your heart is, whatever you feel led to do.
Yeah, I've heard people about you know, buying extra stuff so that they can use it as like we used to exchange corn for a chicken type thing. So what you've got an abundance of, somebody else might have, and you do a swap.
100%. So if you feel like you are like a bit scared about what's to come, then just make some changes, make some choices, take a bit of action and get yourself in a position where you're no longer scared or fearful for what might happen.
I think just on a bit of advice, just don't fall into the trap of reading all the fear that's on channels like Telegram as well. But just take it with a pinch of salt, pick out what resonates with you and try and lead a happy life without all this fear around you.
I think you've touched on something really important there, because you were different to me in that you already had that inner knowing, that inner pull. You had this peace about you already, although you could visually see what was going on in the world. You knew inside, right, I wouldn't want to go to France, I want to do this, I want to be self-sufficient, I want to live off grid and all of that kind of stuff. I didn't have that to start with, so I did fall into this fear, like, what's going on? I need this intel. And I like literally every day I was looking at what's going on and trying to understand. I used to watch the X-22 report religiously and Charlie Ward and Simon Parkes and trying to figure out what was going on. But then I came across a lady, JCK in Australia, and she always said, go within. I'm like, go within. So for me, that was the start of my whole journey of, oh my goodness, I need to stop looking externally for answers. My piece is in here. And then as soon as I tuned in with that and realized that I've got a purpose, my place on this earth is not exactly what I thought it was. And how I tune in and how I open that up and how I listen to that, not my mind and my brain racing with needing answers, but I'll listen to this inner voice. And that's I've just got this massive piece. I do not give a monkey's what happens, because I know I'm here for a reason. I know I'm here for a purpose. I know that I'm fulfilling that purpose and I'm basically being looked after. And not only that, I'm manifesting this amazing new life, which I can totally feel because it's just around the corner. Not that there's anything wrong with my own life, because I absolutely bloody love my life, but just such an exciting time. But yeah, when you go on Telegram, when you go on YouTube and stuff, if you're watching something and it makes you feel down, scared, angry, worried, turn it off. Turn it off. And
definitely.
Find something else, because you literally attract to you what your emotions are. So if you're feeling all of that low emotion stuff, that person is not good for you, who you're listening to. And find a nice happy channel. So who do you follow? Where are you at?
I do keep an eye on Phil Godleski.
Yeah.
Of what else? I can't think now. Channel?
I just tend to Samantha Alderson.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Samantha. Yeah. And a guy called Freeman. He's quite good.
I've not followed him. I need to have him.
Yeah, but I watch a few different people, just to find different perspectives. So quite a few. Yeah, Samantha Alderson's really good. Yeah. And a guy called Ash Braley.
Yeah. I like Samantha because she literally pulls like information from loads of channels and she doesn't do the fear thing, which I just think is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. So I think we both fell in love with, but found Tarot by Janine really useful as well, didn't we? Because for me, tarot cards to start with, I'm like, this is weird. I've always been told tarot cards are a bit woo-woo, a bit out there.
Yeah.
But she just seemed to read the cards on like what's going on. So if the TV is telling you one thing, she'd do an update and it's like, oh, that makes sense. Oh yeah, there's something bigger behind that, and there's something. And I think you quite resonated with her quite a lot as well, didn't you?
I did. I thought the tarot cards were a cover, because she did actually know stuff and she was just pretending to read the cards.
I love it.
That was my take. But yeah, she was really good source of an alternative view as well on the events that are going on in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's really good one to watch.
She had 2 YouTube channels, Sending Ravens and Tarot by Janine. I think they both had like over 100,000 subscribers, but now obviously she's been silenced because she's bringing too much information. So she's got her own website now. So if you Google her, and I love Jean-Claude.
Yeah, it's good to watch.
I listened to one of his just recently as well, because is it Madame Jupiter that he has? She brings in all the astrological signs and like this new moon and that, because there's a new moon now as well, and the planets have been in retrograde, but now they're coming out of retrograde going into October, and they're saying a lot of financial and a lot of political things are going to come out like into the public view rather than background. So
that's the other good thing as well, because if the people that are using the astrological and the tarot reading cards and stuff, you can't probably quite understand because you're not that sort of person that connects with it, but they're saying, and then your intuition's saying it, and then other people are saying it as facts or potentials, but it all comes to the same point, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. But it gets to that point where you do really just have to just listen to it and take what you want, and just dump off what you don't want. And as well, I think for me, because like I say, you had that inner knowing anyway. You didn't fall into that fear panic thing, whereas I think a lot of people might fall into that fear panic thing. But all I would say to those people is just meditate, just quieten your mind and just feel how you feel in here. And if you feel peace and happy and excitement, that is your message from your inner self, your higher being, that everything's fine. So try and like tune into that and connect with people who can do a bit of channeling from your higher self, from your spirit guides as well. You know, you might want to find out what your purpose is. You might want to know what's going on. You might want a message. All of those things. It's definitely something that you can
and there's loads of stuff out there that helps you to do that, isn't there? YouTube channels to help you meditate, and try and find those things that you talked about, you know, like your inner peace and why am I here, and switching off from all the external noise.
It sounds completely bonkers, but the amount of times I've said to the girls, if anything scary happens today, no matter what you see and hear, just remember, take some deep breaths, close your eyes, and just take yourself back to, you know, a really happy time, or just know everything's going to be okay. Like, download your Signal app as well.
Just in case.
Just in case communications go out and we get a bit of a blackout. Which I do think that will happen, and do you think the EBS will happen?
I think something like that has got to happen at some point. Yeah. Because it just, everything needs a reset. It's like rebooting your computer, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like stopping it for a bit and then a new beginnings.
Yeah.
So something's got to have a line under it.
Yeah. I just
maybe.
It.
Who knows?
And it's just,
but that's the exciting thing. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's like everything's bubbling, isn't it? Like 9/11 never came out. All the stuff about that. You've got all of this war thing. You've got what's going on with like Hollywood. There's no films coming out anymore, and just loads of people are just getting like really, really silenced, and and then we've got this big distraction, like the whole Queen thing is like, the TV is like, focus on the Queen, so it's like, what's going on over here if we're being like so
don't look there, look there.
So we'll see, but so it's just been amazing to talk to you again and connect with you. And I'm probably keeping you away from your pool right now, aren't I? Which you can probably go to and do your lenses afternoon. I go and dry some more of your herbs that you've been growing.
Yes, can do that. So I've got herbs for the winter. So nice to be a bit more, a lot more self-sufficient than I was. It's good. Yeah,
it just sounds like a dream. It
is. I don't care. It is, and made it happen. It's good.
I will have the most amazing afternoon.
Yes, I do.
And
lovely to talk with you.
I know, and thank you again for your time today.
Yeah, right. Bye.
Bye.